IVM.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 11 of The Fighting G.O.A.T. My name is Arjun, aka Mystic Chipalkatti. I'm joined by my buddy Somesh, the Superhuman Kamra.
Woohoo!
How are you doing, buddy?
Absolutely fantastic, Chips. After, there were so many fights this weekend. I'm just wondering,
God, man.
It's surprising that I haven't got into a fight. There's just so much happening. And there was, there was PFL, there was Bellator, there was UFC, there was Floyd. Was not there?
We've got a lot to cover. After a long time, we've seen such an action-packed week, which had a combination of boxing and MMA. We had three promotions in boxing. We had the Professional Fighters League, where we saw Fabricio Verdum come back after so long. We saw Bellator, where we saw Anthony Rumble Johnson and Michael Venom Page come back. And, of course, a stacked UFC card. But to cap it off was the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Billy Joe Saunders.
Oh, man.
So, Somesh, let's start off with the MMA week that was, before we move to the boxing week that was.
Excellent. Yeah. So Chips, let's just kick it off because, it was so exciting, we were texting each other at 5 a.m. because you were watching the boxing match.
I know.
And, I was watching the MMA match and we were like, listen, you take the boxing, I'll take the MMA, so let's just kind of balance out the Fighting G.O.A.T accordingly. So yes, man, it was such a stacked card. The UFC had so many ups and downs. It was a doldrum of an event. There were some cancellations. Some fighters came in late. There was a last-minute COVID test.
Who failed the COVID test?
So Amanda Hibas was tested positive.
This is the second time, but this is the second time she's failing
exactly. And it was just a few hours before the Angela Hill fight and they were so disappointed. So, they went off the card. The main event.
Such a pity.
The main event of the evening with Rodriguez. Rodriguez had some visa issues. Instead of coming in on a Monday, she flew in on a Thursday. So she was kind of little bit, jet lagged and she didn't have time for weight cuts. And of course, Ferreira,
I think the UFC and the US government has to come up with a program. How for Indians, we have straight 10-year visas.
Right.
I don't get it. I'm sure they can accommodate something of that sort.
Man. Oh, no. So typically what happens if you're getting paid in the US, you go in on a business visa, which is only given for a single trip.
Okay. One time by back and forth. Okay.
Yeah. So the ones, the ones that we get, which are the H1B1 visas, are the tourist visas. So we can go in and out anytime. But if you're getting paid, then, they also have some employment laws and this and that, so
we will get back to that in another episode.
Yeah.
but apart from, complications on the card, I think it was such a great fight card. If you look at it from top to bottom, I mean, Gregor Gillespie, man. What a fight he had. From the get-go, Somesh, that grappling clinic he put on and that beautiful finish on the ground was just spectacular.
Well, it was so crazy because, in fact, not only was that fight the fight of the night, but because his opponent had missed weight, Gregor Gillespie got the bonus of his opponent also, which means instead of getting $50,000, he made $100,000 over and above his regular purse.
Wow.
And that's so awesome because here's a guy who lost to Kevin Lee in 2019. He was out for almost 19 months. And when he came back, he was so emotional about it. And he was like, yes, I am technically ranked number 14 out there, but I know I have it in me. And he was this close to quitting the sport. But he said, listen, let me just give it one shot. He came back. He had a dominating performance against Diego Ferreira. And man, that was crazy because Diego Ferreira is a very, very good fighter. He's a veteran in the sport. And, he was ranked number 12 and the ranked number 14 guy beat ranked number 12. So, I mean, good things lined up for him. And of course,
Let's see. You never
bank
know,
balance is going like,
You never know though. So, you never know how these things go. But that being said, he put on a great fight. But moving on from there to the veteran Donald Cerrone, man.
Oh,
if you don't know who Donald Cerrone is, Google him. He is, I would call him one of the biggest, the most experienced company men to have been. Right. When you look at guys who are company men, when you talk about the UFC company men, you talk about guys like Clay Guida, Diego Sanchez, Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner, Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture, all these guys who spent their whole lives in the UFC. And I think Donald Cerrone is someone who came in from, correct me if I'm wrong, he came in from WEC as well.
Yes, and, he was in WEC.
Yeah, he came in from WEC and he put on, he came in with such a bang. That lightweight division got such an amazing contender. And he was on the fringe for so long. He's been, Somesh, do you remember that time, that period? I think it was between 2014 and 2017 when Cerrone just was on another level. He couldn't lose. He was fighting 6 times a year, and the amount of win bonuses, I think he sets the record for Fight of the Night bonuses.
I think he has some 20 plus bonuses to his names. Fight of the Night, he's got performance of the night and all of that. And
it's like a couple of $1 million just in bonuses.
Easily. And very surprisingly, he probably declared himself bankrupt a few years back after making that much money. So, but leaving that aside, as you rightly said, what a company, man, what a show. He just steps up. In fact, he had to face Diego Sanchez for this fight.
I know. And such a pity what happened with Diego Sanchez. It's just,
Sanchez and his coach had that little bit of a, altercation with the UFC staff, and, he was off the card, and in fact, he's off the UFC roster.
Which I find a little baffling, to be honest, because considering Diego Sanchez is like a TUF1, the Ultimate Fighter alumni, first season alumni, who put up such insane fights and has always been around. I think, it's a function of improper advice from your coach. I mean, we saw that video of Diego Sanchez hanging upside down and his coach kicking him. I mean, like, what the f*** is that?
Well, I thought he was in Tihar jail getting third-degree torture.
I mean, it certainly looked like that, but I think there was just something that has gone wrong, and I hope that the UFC can, smoothen it out with him, because a fighter like that does not deserve to be cut that. I mean, we don't know the exact details, but I think if Diego Sanchez, separates from his coach and he gets back to, say, a Jackson Wink or something, I think he has a chance to be back.
In fact, what you said are such absolute perfect words, because Dana White said the same thing. He said Diego Sanchez is a great guy, but right now from Jackson Wink, he's gone into wrong company. He's got some guy called, some coach called Joshua Fabia that kind of started this entire ruckus, and that video, and Sanchez crying on YouTube and accusing Dana White, of maybe personal harm and stuff like that.
I know. I mean, that's crazy.
I personally feel the bridge has been burnt, and maybe we'll not see a reconciliation, because I think he's pushed the boundaries a little too much, and maybe he needs some mental advice. So, But coming on to that, man, Alex Morono, who stepped in last minute to face a veteran like Donald Cerrone. And Donald Cerrone is dangerous. He's still
dangerous, man.
He's got very heavy kicks. His kicks, that left kick that comes straight into the liver. It stings. It stings.
It's not just those kicks. I remember his one fight where there was a young buck who was making his way up called Miles Jury, took on Donald Cerrone, and he was talking trash. He was looking past the old man Cerrone.
Right.
Cerrone whooped him so badly. Like, there was a point where Miles Jury was on the ground. There was 30 seconds remaining in the fight. And Cerrone just brutally started kicking his legs. He didn't give a shit whether his shin broke, his ankles broke, the damage. He didn't care. He just wanted to put on a beating.
Man, and that was crazy. That was so crazy, because honestly, this guy, actually, he fought Conor McGregor in the main event in January 2020.
Yeah.
And we are right now May 2021. And, 5-fight losing streak.
I think it's, I don't want to say it.
I don't know.
I don't want to say it. I really don't want to say it.
We know it, but we don't want to say it.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't, fans can be selfish. They want to see their favorite fighters compete forever.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
There comes a time where, and that's why I respect Dana White. Like, he did it to Anderson Silva. He said, I am letting you go.
And Anderson Silva is Anderson Silva.
And he said, I'm letting you go, man, because you don't know when to stop.
Yeah.
And you will never know when to stop. You'll probably die inside that ring.
Exactly.
So sometimes maybe I think this is where I think, I'm sure Dana White is thinking about it himself.
Absolutely, yes. Like 5-fight losing streak. And also he's getting up.
The way he's going, man. The way he's losing.
Absolutely. Just a couple of jabs and we could already see him a little flustered. And he was like, after this much damage, there is a time where your body, your face, your mind cannot take it,
No,
and
man, you can't.
It's not that he's very old. He's 38 years old. It's not that, he's not like a 65-year-old guy who's, walking around. But he's 38 years old. He's got 50 plus fights under his belt. I think he just needs to chill out, have a beer, like exactly what Mr. Chipalkatti is doing right now, and just take it easy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But moving
Which part,
forward,
the beer part or like the taking easy part?
both. I think if anybody has deserved the right to take it easy, it's Donald Cerrone.
Absolutely.
He's given his life to fighting. He's given his life to entertaining the fans. The word boring and Donald Cerrone never have gone together.
Absolutely.
There has never been a boring fight. He will win spectacularly or he will lose spectacularly. But what he will do, he will give it his 250%.
Absolutely. I could not disagree. And moving on to the main event of the evening.
The karate hottie.
Michelle Waterson versus Marina Rodriguez.
Man, I'm a big fan of the karate hottie from her Invicta days, man.
Well, for obvious reasons, but
I mean, guys, go find her on Instagram, dude. I'm not telling you anything.
But speaking of the fight, I mean, both fighters last minute notice were not fighting in their weight category. Came in a little heavier than what they normally come.
They fought at what normally straw weight, right?
They normally fight at about 115 pounds. They came in at about 125 because they didn't have time to cut weight.
Okay.
And but both the fighters came in. They made weight and they put on a good 5-round fight. I mean, I feel it was about 3.5 rounds that went to Rodriguez, but 1.5 rounds, I think it was very, very close. It was almost going towards karate hottie. And there was a time where there was a spinning heel kick that the karate hottie landed on Marina Rodriguez, and she flinched for a second, but she kind of got back her composure. It was like round 4. She knew she was winning, so she had to kind of get her composure back. Then she from that point on, she took it a little more. She was a little more careful. Yes,
she was a lot more careful because people sleep on the karate hottie's striking. I mean, they call her the karate hottie, but don't take away the karate part out of that.
Yeah,
she is a Kyokushin karate black belt. She is a solid striker, and she was a force to be reckoned with. She's always a good contender, no matter where she goes. So, but Rodriguez had a great game plan. She wrote out the decision. So, props to her.
Yeah.
And considering it was on short notice and stuff, it was difficult.
Well, I completely agree with you. But both the women, like Rodriguez 34, Karate Hottie 35, and still putting on that performance and still going for it. Rodriguez, Muay Thai world champion, Karate Hottie has her own skills and her kicks. Man, she was letting those kicks go like they were hands. It was that good.
Absolutely. But you know what?
It was such a clinic.
Yeah, it was. And, that caps off this weekend's UFC card. But we had so much more action. And moving on quickly to Bellator now, where we saw the return of Anthony Rumble Johnson, who sadly had a replacement of his own. He was to take on Yoel Romero.
Yes.
Originally. And Romero, I think, did not pass a test, or he failed a test or something. Right. And man, how good would have that fight been, man? Romero versus Rumble. Shit.
In fact, that's a fight that should have been done in the UFC, but it really never materialized. They were like in different
Rumble Jones should have happened.
Rumble Jones should have. Yeah, they even met for the press conference, but still,
I love that joke. Remember that joke they pulled out? Especially this came after DC and Jones's press scuffle, and then they both tried pushing each other, and Dana got a mini heart attack.
See, Dana, the promoter who's standing in the middle cannot control two beasts, unless and until they are in the flyweight category or in the strawweight category or something.
No, please tell that to Jeremy Stephens also. Yeah. he's fighting at what, bantamweight now, right?
No, I think he's
featherweight.
Featherweight, yeah.
But still, lighter weight class. And Dana looks huge in front of him.
Yeah.
And he still couldn't do it. I mean, that wasn't Dana, but we saw it with Ion Kutilaba. When got his arm around the other guy, and it was crazy. Jacoby.
Oh man. Yeah.
But no, coming back to the fight, we also saw the return of Michael Venom Page, who fought again.
Yes. But let's complete the result of how Johnson finished off that fight. It was a 4-year layoff. Man, he came back and that overhand right connected flush. And
it just shows the power, dude. Oof. It just shows the power because he was hurt in that first round. He almost got knocked out in that first round by Ferreira. And for him to survive that beating, come back And, I think it was also a constant, people say ring rust is a big factor. Yes, I think the way he got caught, it was ring rust, but his conditioning was good. He looked in incredible shape. He looked in great shape again. And that, we talk about finishing power in any division. And I think at light heavyweight, and nobody else in the world has that kind of power. No,
Rumble Johnson, number one.
I mean, even Jan Blachowicz, okay, he's super powerful, but not, I would say Rumble Johnson. Rumble Johnson has knocked out guys with one punch at heavyweight.
Yes.
He hit Daniel Cormier, and Daniel went spinning and tumbling across the cage.
He flew. He flew across the cage,
flew. I mean, and of course, that's Daniel Cormier, who has such incredible veteran experience and conditioning. But anybody else, do you remember the horrific shots against Alexander Gustafsson?
Well, I mean, in fact, there was a fight card in Abu Dhabi, and Small Nog was facing Rumble Johnson.
Oh man!
And he landed one uppercut.
That was awful.
Uppercut cut his eyebrow, and Small Nog just passed out. He just fell.
He was asleep in the air. Even Ferreira was asleep in the air. The difference is when Rumble hits you, you're asleep going downwards.
Exactly. And Ferreira had no idea. It was at one punch, boom, and
bang.
He was out cold, man. I cannot wait to see this guy back. And I just want that Yoel Romero and Rumble Johnson fight to materialize sometime in Bellator when I'm alive.
Dude, how good with Prohaska versus Rumble be?
Oh man, that's crazy.
Both guys who love to stand and bang, and Prohaska who doesn't get scared of walking in chin first. But you don't want to do that against Rumble Johnson, I promise you. But moving on to the return of Michael Venom Page. Michael Venom Page has had such a great career. And he is one of the most... I saw him, Michael Venom Page, when it was the early days of Super Fight League, before he got into the other organizations, like Cage Rage. And
Michael Venom Page was in Super Fight League?
Yes, he fought in Super Fight League.
Really?
Long back. Like, I'm talking 2014 or something. That's how I met him. That's how I met him, man.
Oh my
I'll show you. I got pictures. I partied with him and all later also. It was really good fun.
Wow, that's crazy.
But he has captured the attention of all his fans because of his movement, his unorthodox striking, the way he can roll in and out. He's like a snake, man. The way his hands move.
He's so nimble. He moves like, man.
The fluidity of his movements. And you saw that. The way that kick came up, it flattened his nose. I mean, his opponent, his nose was flattened.
Yes.
He was such a brutal kick. I mean, you go and see it. Check it out on Bellator.com. But it was incredible the way he landed that shot. And I just hope that after this, he gets his second crack at Douglas Lima, who was the only person to knock him out.
Well, that was very much deserved because honestly, MVP was kind of flying a little too high and he was, behaving a little flashy and, he was trying to be Anderson Silva, and then the Chris Weidman thing happened to him. So... But let's see how this plays out because I hope at this stage of life he's matured. He's become a better fighter.
He has. We saw it in his entire performance. He was, even though he was being flamboyant, he was not being reckless.
Yes, he was not being reckless. So I hope that Douglas Lima and Michael Venom Page fight plays out. So yes,
we really got to get him on our show. Huh? I think we need to. I need to give him a call. I think we should get. Stay tuned, guys. We've got
Paging IVM
podcast. No, this year, guys, stay tuned. Every week or so, we've got a great lineup of amazing guests coming on.
Yes,
some incredible guests coming on. So
absolutely.
That being said, though, that wraps up that segment with Bellator. Moving on quickly to the Professional Fighters League. Before we go on, the PFL. Man. I mean, we've seen a lot of fighters from the UFC transition to PFL. For instance, we saw Anthony Pettis and his brother Sergio Pettis fight at PFL.
Yes.
We saw, in fact, last week's fight card. We're going to discuss one fight, which was Fabricio Verdum made his comeback at PFL, and that was a super duper controversial decision.
Man, was that controversial or what? Chips, this actually took me back to UFC 1, when Gracie actually submitted Ken Shamrock, and Ken Shamrock is tapping, the referee stops it, and Ken says, I didn't tap. What's wrong with you guys?
I mean, the similar thing happened because if you look at it, Verdum was stopped in round 1 via strikes, but I can understand him for him being pissed off. Because it was clear. We saw it in the replay. There were 2 taps.
Yes.
It was very, very clear.
So, just to sum it up, Verdum's opponent tapped, Verdum let him go. The referee restarted the fight and Verdum got knocked out.
It's true. That's exactly what happened.
Man, that was so sad.
It was very, very sad. And I hope that decision is overturned. Because, things have happened in the past. Things like this have happened in the past. And sometimes they take like a few days to review it. And then the decisions get overturned.
Yeah. So typically what happens is that the corner of a fighter can file an appeal with the commission. The commission reviews it. And if they feel that it's a genuine appeal and something needs to be done about it, then they inform the organization and they either turn it over or they don't turn it over. So
I mean, the replay is clear as day. I mean, the commentators said it. Everybody said it. And, the reviews online have also said it. Like it was pretty clear what happened.
Right.
But that being said, now we move on to the boxing week that was. Before we get to the biggie, the big shot fight, which was Canelo Saul Alvarez taking on Billy Joe Saunders from the UK, which happened, I think, at the AT&T Stadium in Texas.
Yes.
And it was so good to see a packed house in boxing again.
Man,
it was really good.
It was unreal.
It was unreal.
Loved it.
But before all this happened, a day or two prior, during the press conference days and the pre-weigh-in days, Floyd Money Mayweather, who is a legend, he's 50-0. You can say nothing about him. And he took on, by the way, he's the only man. There was only one loss in Canelo's record, and that is Floyd Mayweather.
Yes.
Mayweather is the only one to have beaten Canelo.
Right.
And the one and only Mr. Kamra's favorite boxer in the world was also there, Jake Paul. Do you know Mayweather was rumored to fight his brother Logan Paul?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Jake Paul fights at 200, Logan fights at around 155, 160. So that's what there's a rumor going on that Mayweather's fighting Logan Paul.
Man, I mean, maybe this is the reason why boxing died, because
I agree. I know where you're going with this.
It's not real fighting happening. It's more of these exhibition matches that have got insane amounts of money on the line. But still, but the Jake Paul and Floyd incident was crazy because they had a confrontation. They were face to face. They were going at each other. And then Jake Paul just takes his cap and goes and scoots off.
It's like a child, dude. It's like a child. And Mayweather...
Teri topi mein le lunga.
Tera topi le liya. It is so stupid. But the thing is that it worked. Because I have never seen Mayweather. I've seen Mayweather fight through the years. Man, he's not a young man anymore. He's an old man now.
Yeah.
And, I have never seen him lose his calm, his composure. He was so out of control that day. He was so livid.
Yeah.
He hit him, man. He hit him. They were got into a public altercation. He landed a left. There was a shiner on Jake Paul's eye. And Jake Paul immediately went to social media and said, oh, it's on and rubbish. And the BS talk started.
Right.
I mean, it's sad we live in a generation where that's all somebody has to do to become a contender.
Man.
And I mean, along with me and the entire cast and crew of the Fighting G.O.A.T, and I think almost 95% of the world would want to see a real boxer take on Jake Paul.
Absolutely.
I think somebody needs to be said, because this is why boxing gets negative publicity, like Somesh said.
I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. But see, at the same time, it does get the hype up. There's like an old guy, young guy, YouTuber, professional boxer coming together. So he tried to pull this shit with MMA. He tried to pull this shit with DC 2 weeks ago as well at UFC 261. He tried to pull that shit and DC put a finger in his face saying, take my name out of your mouth. And I'm going to punch your teeth out.
Yeah. I want to punch your teeth out. And Jake said, oh, why don't you come to boxing? He's like, I'm not stupid. You come to my ring. There's a circle ring.
There was a fight between DC and Dan Henderson with that infamous slam.
Oh my God.
And he slammed Dan Henderson in a sack of potatoes. I just cannot imagine him. I just can't imagine what will happen to Jake Paul if that ever happens.
Dude,
never happens.
Hang on. Dude, let's just remember, Dan Henderson is a NCAA champion.
Absolutely.
He is a legit wrestler.
Absolutely. He is. And he's a kick-ass wrestler.
He's a kick-ass wrestler. Only he uses his wrestling defensively nowadays. I mean, when he fought, because he had those atomic bombs in his hands. So
Right.
This rubbish, though, I think must conclude eventually with Jake Paul and Mayweather. But before we let everything tarnish the sport of boxing, there are a couple of things that didn't get tarnished. And that was the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Billy Joe Saunders.
Man.
Somesh, 8 rounds. It took the champion 8 rounds out of 12, where he controlled the action. I would give 2 rounds to Saunders with his herky-jerky movement. He was coming and cutting angles beautifully.
Right.
But they call, Canelo Alvarez is just on another level, on another planet.
So, I managed to check the highlights of the fight, and somehow I feel that Alvarez has become such a sorted fighter at this stage of his life. And I'm genuinely saying that. I feel if the Alvarez today faces Mayweather, I think it would be a beautiful contest.
It's a funny thing. That's what Canelo said in an interview prior to the fight, saying that, people say that you've lost to Mayweather, but Mayweather fought me before my prime.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm in my prime now.
Yeah.
But Mayweather came back with a classy retort saying, you know what? I was in my prime. He said it seemed like he was in his prime. Mayweather gave him that because Mayweather didn't say it was an easy fight. No, it was not.
It was
Mayweather's had a couple of fights in his life. He's had tough fights, like with Maidana. He's had a fight with
Manny Pacquiao.
Oh man, how could I forget Manny Pacquiao, man? That was a war.
That was crazy.
You got to give the guy respect at the end of the day.
Right.
And so, Canelo, I wish they could fight again, but it would not be fair to Mayweather now because Mayweather's done. Mayweather's done now. And Canelo is truly in his prime. And he showed that with Saunders.
And he's become strong. He's become so strong. So he's not just snapping his jab. His cross.
Dude, his body shots.
Man,
we said it together. We said body shots together.
Same pinch.
But those body shots, man.
They were bad. They were bad. They
broke him. They broke Saunders. You could see every round. He was getting more and more hurt.
If Canelo hits me with 10% of that power, I would probably not wake up for a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Canelo's body shot to the liver or Aldo's kick to the liver?
Death.
I would like to withdraw from this contest. KBC mein I used to do na. KBC mein like, aap abhi 10,000 rupees jeet gaye hai. Would you like to withdraw? I mean, I would like to withdraw. नहीं हो गया. करने का ही नहीं है. नहीं करना है.
भाई साहब force मत करो.
But anyway, Somesh, that was a great week.
Well, it was so much happening, that our crew didn't have enough staff to look at all the tournaments together. So, Chips was looking at boxing, I was looking at MMA, and, we were kind of shuttling between the two, and there was so much happening. However, what we are not going to shuttle in is the guest that is coming on our show in round 2. We have none other than India ki Shaan, the Indian Tigress, the undefeated 1 FC fighter, Ritu Phogat, coming on the show for round 2. So, guys,
that is amazing.
Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this short break with the Indian Tigress, Ritu Phogat.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd like to thank our sponsors on the network this week, Cred, Ciet, thewholetruthfoods.com, and PayPal. We really do appreciate the support. On Cyrus Says, we discussed quite a bit about the local assembly elections this month. Vasanti Hariprakash was there to talk about the West Bengal elections, and then we also spoke to Pradeep Gupta, a psephologist and author. He's the chairman and MD of Access My India. Do definitely check that episode out. Great conversation. Tune into This Round Is On Me, where Gauri Devi Dayal caught up on the latest trends in the PR industry with Archana Jain from PR Pundit. On The Habit Coach, Ashton Doctor spoke to Anandita Chatterjee. She's the founder of Travel Chatter. She's been a marketer with some large firms and has traveled to 67 countries so far. It was a RuPaul Drag Race fan club on KBCD where Farhad and Sunetro discussed the show's best moments and talents. Amber Rana was joined by celebrity fitness trainer Shivoham on New Year Kanun to discuss fitness laws and regulations in India. They talk about the laws and infrastructure that exist to protect gyms, trainers, and also consumers in the fitness industry. And on the note with Maruk Inayat, we have clinical psychologist and friend of the network, Sonali Gupta. She talks about ongoing mental health issues like survivor's guilt, coping with anxiety around the pandemic, and doom scrolling. And with that, let me get you back to your show.
Welcome back to round 2 of the Fighting G.O.A.T. My name is Arjun, aka Mr. Chipalkatti, with my buddy Somesh, the Superhuman Kamra. And we have a very, very special guest for you today.
Chips, I am not the superhuman today. We have another person who's the superhuman today.
Exactly.
Please introduce her with all honors and loudly.
It is going to be amazing. For the first time, exclusively on IVM Podcast Network, it is my humble pleasure to introduce India ki Shaan, the 2016 Commonwealth Wrestling Champ, Gold Medalist, and 1FC undefeated female Indian fighter, the Tigress, Ritu Phogat. Ritu ji.
Thank you guys. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Ritu ji, नमस्कार. Welcome to our show. भाग्य है हमारे.
नमस्कार जी, राम, सत श्री अकाल, अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
नहीं सॉरी रितु जी, मेरी हिंदी बहुत बुरी है. मैं बंबई का हूँ ना, प्रॉब्लम है यहाँ बंबई में ज्यादा करके मराठी, इंग्लिश मिक्स, हिंदी सब मिक्स हो जाता है.
कोई
तो
बात
मुझे
नहीं, चलेगा.
माफ कर दीजिए, मैं कभी इंग्लिश में बोलूंगा.
तो लैंग्वेज भी मिक्स चलेगी.
अरे फर्स्ट क्लास.
देखो हमारा मार्शल आर्ट्स भी मिक्स्ड ही है. हिंदी भी मिक्स्ड होगी.
वाह, क्या जोक है. और मिक्स मार्शल आर्ट्स की बात की जाए तो अभी रितु फोगत, इफ यू डोंट नो हु रितु फोगत इज, पहले आप इफ यू डोंट नो हु रितु फोगत इज ना, बस चले जाओ. ये स्पोर्ट छोड़ो, रेसलिंग छोड़ो, बॉक्सिंग छोड़ो, एमएमए छोड़ो, सब छोड़ के चले जाओ. नंबर 2, if you don't know Ritu Phogat is, please Google her, because she is India's first female MMA fighter who is undefeated in a foreign promotion. She fights at One Fighting Championships in Singapore. She has taken part in the world's second edition of the Apprentice Show. She has done so much in the world of fighting. अभी सिर्फ हम आपसे सुनना चाहेंगे. रितु जी, आप कैसे हो? आप फरमाइए.
बिल्कुल, मैं बिल्कुल ठीक हूँ और यहाँ पे भी मतलब सब कुछ ठीक चल रहा है और मेरी ट्रेनिंग भी सिंगापुर में काफी अच्छी चल रही है. तो बिल्कुल जो मैं गोल यहाँ पे एक एम लेके आई थी, अपना ड्रीम लेके आई थी, तो मैं उसको पूरा करने के लिए यहाँ पे आई हूँ, फैमिली से दूर. तो बिल्कुल मैं एंजॉय कर रही हूँ यहाँ पे हर दिन ट्रेनिंग को.
That is amazing. In fact, रितु जी, आपकी एज है 27, एमएमए रिकॉर्ड 4-0. आप प्रो रेसलिंग लीग में सबसे एक्सपेंसिव प्लेयर थे. 2016 कॉमनवेल्थ गोल्ड मेडलिस्ट, 2017 वर्ल्ड रेसलिंग चैंपियन, सिल्वर मेडलिस्ट. क्या आपको लगा कि आप एक दिन फाइटिंग गोट पे आओगे?
बिल्कुल, मेरे को पहले कभी मतलब ऐसा नहीं लगा था कि, क्योंकि मैं बचपन से मतलब 2012-13 से मैं देखती थी, मिक्स मार्शल आर्ट देखती थी. मुझे बचपन से मुझे नहीं पता, बचपन से मुझे कुछ अलग करने की हमेशा दिमाग में रहती, कुछ अलग करना. रेसलिंग में भी, जब रेसलिंग में थी तो यही सोचती थी कि वर्ल्ड में किसी का मेडल नहीं आया तो मेरे को वर्ल्ड में मेडल लेके आना है. एशिया में मेडल है तो उसकी नहीं सोचती थी. मैं यही सोचती थी कि किसी का मेडल किसमें नहीं है, किसमें मतलब मैं अलग कर सकती हूँ, किसमें मैं हिस्ट्री बना सकती हूँ. तो मैं उस चीज पे ज्यादा फोकस रखती थी. और फिर और मिक्स मार्शल आर्ट में भी मतलब मैं यही सोचती थी कि इंडिया से इसमें कोई चैंपियन क्यों नहीं है, क्या इंडिया में इसकी ट्रेनिंग नहीं होती, क्या यहाँ इंडिया से कुछ अच्छे फाइटर नहीं है. तो फिर जब यूओल ने मेरे को पहली बार जब ऑफर दिया कि आप मिक्स मार्शल आर्ट में इंटरेस्ट हो, आप ट्रेनिंग करना चाहते, तो मैं इतनी जब वो मैचेस देखा तो मैं काफी खुश हो गई. लेकिन एक वो थे कि पापा पता नहीं उस चीज के लिए हाँ करेंगे नहीं करेंगे. तो मैंने बहनों से भी बात की, तो उन्होंने पापा से बात की, तो पापा ने मतलब एक बार भी ये नहीं कहा, बोले क्या इंटरेस्ट है, ये कोई मायने नहीं रखता कि मतलब रेसलिंग कर दी है या मिक्स मार्शल आर्ट या कोई भी गेम, बस हमेशा ये याद रखना कि अपना देश का नाम सबसे ऊपर करना है. तो बिल्कुल, और बस वही चीज थी कि मुझे रेसलिंग से मिक्स मार्शल आर्ट में लेके आई.
वाह, मतलब ये कितनी गहरी बात है कि अभी भी एक वर्ल्ड चैंपियन को अपने पापा से डर है, पॉइंट नंबर 1. एंड आपके ऊपर 2 और बहनें हैं जो चाहिए आपको पापा को कन्विंस करे.
बिल्कुल, क्योंकि मैं पापा से ज्यादा मतलब बहनों से ज्यादा कनेक्ट रही हूँ. तो बिल्कुल जो भी डांट पड़ेंगी वो बहनों पे पड़ जाएंगी. वो भी एक मतलब माइंड गेम था, वो भी मतलब
देखो इसे कहते हैं चैंपियनशिप माइंडसेट. माइंड गेम्स कंप्लीटली
माइंड. बिल्कुल.
और फिर मेरा ये दूसरा सवाल है, आप अभी आपके अकम्प्लिशमेंट्स देख के, आपके अवार्ड्स देख के, आपके मेडल्स देख के मुझे तो रोना आ रहा है क्योंकि फिर मैंने अपनी जिंदगी में कुछ की ही नहीं है, पर उस हिसाब से देखा जाए तो
आप मोटिवेट होइए उस चीज से।
नहीं
हम
मतलब
करेंगे।
नहीं मतलब जो आपने कहा वो एब्सोल्युटली सही, क्योंकि वो ज्यादा मोटिवेट ही हो रहे हैं
देख भाई, लॉकडाउन में बैठ के ना तेरा भी पेट बाहर आ गया है, तो मजाक कर ही मत। पर नहीं, मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि आफ्टर ऑल दीज अकम्प्लिशमेंट्स, इतना सब आपने किया है और इतना ऑलरेडी आपके प्लान्स बन गए, आप सिर्फ 27 इयर्स एज के हो, अभी आप एमएमए के आगे आपने कुछ सोचा है अभी भी कि सिर्फ कि एमएमए ही रहना है अभी के लिए?
फिलहाल तो मेरा मतलब पूरा फोकस इसी पे है कि मतलब जो मैं मतलब अपना टारगेट लेके आई थी, मुझे 2-3 साल में ये चीज अचीव करनी है, और उसके बाद मैंने नहीं सोचा, क्योंकि मेरा पूरा ध्यान इसी पे है कि मतलब आगे की मुझे नहीं पता क्या करना है क्या नहीं, लेकिन फिलहाल पूरा फोकस मेरा इसी में, मतलब वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप, इंडिया के लिए वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप का बेल्ट लेके आना।
वो इनफैक्ट वो इतना इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट है, क्योंकि लोग अक्सर ना बहुत दूर की प्लानिंग करते हैं कि मैं 10 साल में ये करूंगा या मैं 15 साल में ये करूंगा, बट वो शॉर्ट टर्म गोल्स को मिस आउट कर लेते हैं। सो लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, इट इज सो इम्पोर्टेंट टू फोकस ऑन योर शॉर्ट टर्म गोल्स एंड नॉट थिंक ऑफ द लॉन्ग टर्म गोल विदाउट पेइंग एम्फेसिस ऑन द शॉर्ट टर्म गोल। सो रितु जी, मेरा दूसरा सवाल आपके लिए है कि आप रेसलिंग में 48 केजीज में आप कंपीट करते थे
जी,
पर आपने जब एमएमए में ट्रांजिशन किया तो आप 52 केजीज का सबसे लास्ट उसका वेट कैटेगरी था,
एटम वेट, आई थिंक एटम वेट कहते हैं उसको।
या सो एटम वेट इन वन चैंपियनशिप इज 52 केजीज। तो बेसिकली ये 4 किलोज ने आपका परफॉर्मेंस बढ़ाया है, घटाया है, या आपको लगता है कि ये 4 केजीज बम्प अप करके आपका पावर ज्यादा बढ़ गया है, स्पीड ज्यादा बढ़ गया है?
बिल्कुल, मैं ये बताना चाहूंगी कि जब मैं रेसलिंग करती थी तो मतलब मैं अंडर वेट ही रहती थी, तो मतलब पापा ने भी पूरी कोशिश की, मतलब डॉक्टरों से भी बातचीत, का वेट क्यों नहीं बढ़ रहा, पापा ने जो खिला सकते थे पापा ने हर चीज खिलाई। और पापा
मतलब घी, पराठा, मक्खन, बादाम, दूध,
जो हर रोज का
सब कुछ ट्राई कर लिया पापा, मतलब वैद्य के पास जाके भी, मतलब नाड़ी दिखा के भी इसका वेट क्यों नहीं बढ़ रहा, पूरी ट्राई करी, मेरा वेट कभी नहीं बढ़ा। और जो मेरी वेट कैटेगरी की लड़कियां थी रेसलिंग में, वो कम करके 4-5 केजी कम करके लेके आती थी, तो वो मुझे मतलब मैच में वो चीज लगती थी कि मैं यही सोचती थी कि अगर मेरा वेट बढ़ जाए तो मैं, मतलब मुझे लगता था कि मेरे टक्कर का नहीं है, क्योंकि मैं मतलब अंडर वेट होकर भी वो इतना वेट कट करके मैं उनको टक्कर दे रही हूँ। तो मेरा यही था कि मतलब अगर मेरा वेट बढ़ जाए तो मैं कुछ इनको बताऊंगी, मैं इनको लेकिन जब मैं सिंगापुर में आई तो मुझे नहीं पता, यहाँ का पानी लग गया मेरे को और मेरा वेट अपने आप बढ़ गया मेरे यहाँ पे आने के बाद।
यानी मुझे सिंगापुर कभी जाना नहीं चाहिए, मुझे कभी नहीं जाना चाहिए सिंगापुर, गलती से भी नहीं।
जब मैंने पापा को बताया कि मेरा वेट यहाँ पे बढ़ गया, बोला कि तू यहाँ पे ट्रेनिंग नहीं कर रही इसलिए बढ़ गया।
पापा की नजर।
बिल्कुल, बोला कि यहाँ पे ट्रेनिंग नहीं कर रही इसलिए बढ़ गया होगा तेरा वेट। फिर मैं बोली ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, लेकिन बिल्कुल वेट बढ़ने के बाद पावर अपने आप ऑटोमेटिक गेन हो जाती है। तो अभी मेरा वेट बिल्कुल, मतलब जो मेरी वेट कैटेगरी है बिल्कुल सेम इतना ही रहता है, तो मुझे घटाने और बढ़ाने की कोई जरूरत नहीं पड़ती।
अमेजिंग, थैंक यू सो मच।
रितु जी, आपको लगता है आप जब अभी आपको आई थिंक आप नए हो एमएमए में, तो काफी नए हो, अभी रिसेंटली चालू किया आपने, आपको लगता है कि हमने आपके फाइट्स देखे हैं ऑलरेडी, काफी 4 फाइट हुए, वो चारों में से आपने 3 टीकेओ जीत चुके हैं और 1 ही डिसीजन हुआ है, और आपका स्टाइल देख के मुझे लगता है कि इज अ वेरी हैवी रेसलिंग, हैवी स्टाइल। जब आप देखते हो दूसरे फाइटर्स को तो आप कहाँ से इंस्पिरेशन लेते हो? कभी आप एमएमए में देखोगे तो फाइटर्स सच एज खबीब नूरमगोमेडोव और केन वेलास्केज और डैनियल कॉर्मियर, आप किस हिसाब से उस हिसाब से ट्रेनिंग करते हो? डू यू लुक एट रेसलर्स, डू यू लुक एट स्ट्राइकर्स?
मैं मतलब एक रेसलर के देख के ही फाइट करती हूँ कि एक रेसलर की स्ट्राइकिंग के साथ मतलब फाइट होती है वो किस तरह से लड़ता, एक रेसलर की मतलब किसी ग्रैपलर के साथ होती तो किस तरह से फाइट लड़ता। तो बिल्कुल मैं खबीब की मैच से पहले, चाहे मैंने वो बाउट 100 बार देख सकती हूँ, फिर भी मैं मतलब खबीब के मैच देखती हूँ और देखती हूँ कि मतलब उसके रेसलिंग के बाद, टेक डाउन के बाद किस तरह से वो कंट्रोल करता है, किस तरह से वो फिनिश करता है। हालांकि खबीब की स्ट्राइकिंग इतनी मतलब टॉप लेवल की नहीं है, और लेकिन उसकी रेसलिंग जो है उसका कोई तोड़ नहीं है किसी भी ग्रैपलर के पास, किसी भी स्ट्राइकर के पास। तो बिल्कुल मैं हर बार मतलब मैच से पहले भी हर बार उसकी वीडियो देखती हूँ, जो मैंने देख रखी है, फिर भी मैं बार बार देखती हूँ कि हर एक पॉइंट देखती हूँ कि कहाँ पे कैसे कैच करता है, कैसे कंट्रोल करता है।
आपकी रेसलिंग ना, आपके फाइट्स देखने के बाद आपकी रेसलिंग भी बहुत सिमिलर है खबीब के स्टाइल में, क्योंकि आपका भी स्टाइल एकदम, एक बार आप पकड़ लेते हो किसी को तो गेम इज ओवर। और मेरे हिसाब से आपको ये बेस्ट क्वेश्चन होगा, जो ट्रेडिशनल रेसलिंग होता है, जो कंपटीशन रेसलिंग होता है, और एमएमए रेसलिंग में आपको क्या फर्क दिख रहा है वो दोनों में एग्जैक्टली? आपको क्या लगता है, जो एमएमए रेसलिंग अलग है, रेगुलर रेसलिंग में अलग है, क्या फर्क दिख रहा है आपको?
फर्क कुछ नहीं है। अगर मेरे को फर्क ये है कि मतलब इसमें हम पंचेज कर सकते हैं और मतलब पंचेज वगैरह कर करके अपनी बेस्ट पोजीशन बना सकते हैं। तो रेसलिंग में वो चीज अलाउड नहीं है। तो रेसलिंग में मतलब टेक डाउन और वो चीज तो सेम ही है, लेकिन वो चीज उसमें लीगल है, मतलब पंचेज वगैरह नहीं कर सकते रेसलिंग में, अदरवाइज कोई डिफरेंस नहीं है।
वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग। ऋतु जी, मेरा नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है कि वन चैंपियनशिप ने आपके बेसिकली मई मंथ आपके लिए बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि आप बैक टू बैक लड़ रहे हो। एक है 15th में और एक है 28th में
दंगल।
तो एक है 15th में दंगल एंड 28th में इज द एटम वेट ग्रां प्री चैंपियनशिप। तो आई मीन आई नो कि आप ज्यादा डिटेल्स नहीं बता सकते हो, बट एग्जैक्टली आपका गेम प्लान क्या है कि फर्स्ट फाइट नो इंजरीज गोइंग टू द सेकंड फाइट, या आपको जल्दी खत्म करना है, आपको अपने अपोनेंट को डीप वाटर्स में लेके जाना है, क्योंकि आपका अपोनेंट आई बिलीव इज ऑन अ 2 फाइट लूजिंग स्ट्रीक। द फर्स्ट अपोनेंट बाय निंगियन is on a 2 fight losing streak. तो मेरे हिसाब से that is a easier fight for you. मतलब अगर मैं पेपर पे देखूं तो वो फाइट काफी इजी है आपके लिए, बट
मैं ये कहूंगी कि फाइट इजी तो नहीं है, क्योंकि उसके पास एक्सपीरियंस ज्यादा है। Correct. और उसका स्टैंडिंग गेम है वो मेरे से काफी स्ट्रॉन्ग है। तो बिल्कुल इजी तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं है। ये मेरे लिए बहुत मतलब ग्रैंड फिक्स से पहले मेरे लिए ये काफी अच्छी मतलब फाइट होगी। और मैं चाहूंगी कि मतलब ग्रांड फिक्स से पहले मैं अपनी इम्प्रूवमेंट है, अपनी जो मैंने प्रिपरेशन की है, तैयारी की है, तो वो देखूं कि मतलब मेरी कैसी तैयारी है। तो बिल्कुल मैं यही चाहूंगी कि मतलब मैं जल्दी से जल्दी बिना इंजरी के ये मैच फिनिश करके आऊं।
करेक्ट, थैंक यू सो मच।
ऋतु जी, अभी आपके एंटायर एमएमए गेम में आप ज्यादा, मैंने जैसे हमने अभी डिस्कस किया है कि मोस्टली रेसलिंग हैवी, रेसलिंग, ग्रैपलिंग, और आपको वो माउंटेड क्रूसिफिक्स पोजीशन काफी अच्छा लगता है, जहां where you get on top and you use your ground and pound। पर आपको लगता है कि आपके पूरे एमएमए गेम में, आपके पूरे ट्रेनिंग में आप ज्यादा कहाँ फोकस करना चाहोगे? अभी आपका रेसलिंग तो ऑलरेडी वर्ल्ड क्लास है, तो आप कौन से एरियाज में इंप्रूव करना चाहते हो?
बिल्कुल मेरा रेसलिंग अच्छा है, लेकिन मैं अब उसको और भी ज्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग बनाऊंगी कि मतलब खबीर की तरह कि मतलब अगर एक बार मैंने टच भी कर लिया लाइक तो किसी को, तो उस वहां तक छोड़ना नहीं है। तो मैं अपनी रेसलिंग को और भी ज्यादा इम्प्रूव, और जो मेरे जो ग्राउंड है जहाँ पे मतलब किसी ग्रैपलर के साथ मेरी फाइट होगी, तो मैं उस चीज पे भी ज्यादा वर्क कर रही हूँ कि मतलब किसी के भी ग्रैपलर के साथ आ जाए तो मैं वहां पे भी बच सकूं और अपना जो है ग्राउंड कंट्रोल वो मतलब वहीं सेम रखूं और उसको उठने ना दूं।
So basically now Ritu Phogat is going to be even better than Khabib Nurmagomedov. बस अभी Khabib has retired now, Somesh, और फिर अभी now is Ritu Phogat's time। तो कल लोग देखेंगे, hey, look at Ritu's grappling, look at Ritu's wrestling, look at Ritu's MMA game. It is,
बिल्कुल, definitely।
नहीं, of course, champion, always।
Amazing, great, superb। Ritu ji, my next question is कि अभी आपका एक्सपोजर इतना इंटरनेशनल लेवल का हो गया है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू रेसलिंग एज वेल एज एमएमए, क्या आप चाहते हो कि सम टाइम इन योर करियर या करियर के बाद आप इंडिया में कोई ट्रेनिंग फैसिलिटी ऐसे खोलो जहां पे वर्ल्ड चैंपियंस निकले?
बिल्कुल मेरा ये ड्रीम है कि मतलब मैं मिक्स मार्शल आर्ट में अपना ड्रीम पूरा करके बिल्कुल, क्योंकि इंडिया में टैलेंट की बिल्कुल भी कमी नहीं है तो मतलब एक अच्छे प्लेटफॉर्म की। तो बिल्कुल मैं ये चाहूंगी कि मतलब मैं जितना किसी की हेल्प कर सकूं, क्योंकि लोग करना चाहते हैं लेकिन उन्हें एक प्लेटफॉर्म नहीं मिलता। तो बिल्कुल मैं अपना ड्रीम पूरा करके बिल्कुल इस चीज पे पूरा वर्क करूंगी। जैसा भी होगा मेरे से जितना पॉसिबल होगा, बिल्कुल मैं इंडिया में एक बेस्ट एकेडमी बनाऊंगी, क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि इंडिया में टैलेंट हर जगह क्योंकि मेरे पास भी मतलब सोशल मीडिया पे इतने सारे मैसेज आते हैं कि हमें भी मिक्स मार्शल आर्ट करना है, ये करना है। तो लेकिन मैं इस टाइम पे उनकी कोई हेल्प नहीं कर सकती। मैं इस टाइम पे सिर्फ उनको ही मतलब लाइव आती हूँ, उनसे कनेक्ट होती हूँ, तो सिर्फ यही बोलती हूँ कि मतलब जब तक हो कोई अच्छी सी आसपास कहीं पे भी कोई एकेडमी हो, वहां पे जाके ज्वाइन करो, आप अपने आप को मतलब फिजिकली फिट करो, और जैसा भी मेरे से जितना भी होगा मैं बहुत जल्दी वो चीज इंडिया में मतलब एक अच्छी एकेडमी और कोचेज तो सभी अच्छे होते हैं, वो डिपेंड स्टूडेंट पे डिपेंड करता है कि हम उस चीज को कितना जल्दी कैच करते हैं। तो बिल्कुल मैं वो चीज जल्दी इंडिया में करना चाहूंगी।
That is amazing. Anyways, आपको आपका पहला स्टूडेंट मिल ही गया है। तो जब आपका second, तो फिर आप मुझे बोल दो।
First student, Somesh is in I think light heavyweight, middleweight और
middleweight category में मैं हूँ।
Heavyweight
स्टार्टिंग में स्टूडेंट तो बहुत सारे आएंगे, लेकिन कोई मतलब वहां तक कब तक टिके रहेगा वो डिपेंड करता है।
मैं भर्ती हो रहा हूँ हेवीवेट में सीधा, फर्स्ट स्टूडेंट इन हेवीवेट कैटेगरी। बट माय नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन एक्चुअली वो वहां ही जा रहा था, वही डिपार्टमेंट में, कि व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट ट्रेनिंग, व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट जहां अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिलते हैं स्पेशली फीमेल एथलीट्स के लिए, फीमेल फाइटर्स, फीमेल एथलीट्स, आप क्या एडवाइस ऑफर कर सकते हैं ये डिपार्टमेंट में जो फीमेल एथलीट्स को एमएमए ज्वाइन करना है या एमएमए प्रमोशंस में लड़ना है, आप क्या एडवाइस दोगे उनको?
बिल्कुल मैं यही कहूंगी कि भी जो भी अगर मिक्स मार्शल आर्ट करना चाहते हैं तो बिल्कुल, अगर कोई भी गेम होते हैं, आप मिक्स मार्शल आर्ट करना चाहते हैं, अदर स्पोर्ट्स करना चाहते हैं, तो हर एक एथलीट के लिए, हर एक प्लेयर के लिए एक सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज होती है कि डिसिप्लिन। अगर आप में डिसिप्लिन नहीं है तो आप लाइफ में कभी भी कुछ भी अचीव नहीं कर सकते। तो सबसे मेन इम्पोर्टेंट है डिसिप्लिन, सबसे ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है। और फिर देखते हैं कि हार्ड वर्क और डेडिकेशन, वो उसके बाद वो चीज आती है। तो बिल्कुल ये तीन चीजें मैं चाहूंगी कि मतलब जो भी लाइफ में कुछ अचीव करना चाहते हैं तो ये तीन चीजें अपने आप के अंदर लेके आए तो आप कुछ भी कर सकते हैं।
Very true. You know, it's so well said by the champion. Discipline, hard work, dedication are the three important things. I think, Somesh, we've seen this. We see one common thing, जो आपने ऋतु में भी देखा है और काफी champions में देखा है, कि they have that same mentality, the hard work, the discipline, the work ethic, जो हमेशा हर champion में दिखा जाता है. Whether it's Khabib, whether it's Anderson Silva, whether it's GSP, it's Amanda Nunes, Valentina Shevchenko, all जो भी वो that mentality वो हमेशा होती है।
Correct, very true, very true. In fact, my next question is very similar, like taking off जहाँ से अर्जुन ने छोड़ा था, that ऋतु, अभी वन चैंपियनशिप में इतने सारे इंडियन फाइटर्स है और नेक्स्ट कार्ड जो है उसका नाम भी दंगल है। क्या आपको लगता है कि थोड़े टाइम के बाद वन चैंपियनशिप इंडिया में एक लाइव शो आएगा, एंड इफ यस तो वो कब आ सकता है?
बिल्कुल मैं ये कहूंगी कि मतलब मेरे आने से पहले मुझे भी नहीं पता था कि मैं मतलब इंडिया में मिक्स मार्शल आर्ट की कहाँ ट्रेनिंग होती है, कोई फाइटर है या नहीं है, एक्चुअली मैं नहीं जानती थी। लेकिन जब से मैंने मतलब वन चैंपियनशिप में फाइट स्टार्ट की है मिक्स मार्शल आर्ट की, तो मैं देखती हूँ कि मतलब काफी लोग इंटरेस्ट ले रहे हैं इंडिया से। तो वो चीज मुझे भी मतलब खुशी होती है कि हाँ इंडिया में मतलब काफी पॉपुलर हो रहा है। तो मैं आने वाले कुछ टाइम में देख रही हूँ कि मतलब इंडिया में ये गेम बहुत ही मतलब टॉप पे जाने वाला है।
Correct.
तो बिल्कुल अभी कोविड की वजह से सारी चीजें थोड़ी गड़बड़ हो गई हैं, लेकिन बिल्कुल अगर कोविड नहीं होता तो बिल्कुल इस साल सितंबर में कोई वन चैंपियनशिप का इवेंट इंडिया में होता।
I wish क्योंकि एक बार I think वो दंगल कार्ड पे एक दूसरे फाइटर है गुरुदर्शन मंगत जो भी लड़ रहे हैं, एंड गैरी मंगत was telling me कि they are planning, if there was no COVID 2021 तक अभी 2-3 शो हो जाते थे अभी तक। One was planning to come in 2020.
Wow, that is such good news for all of us fans out here, man. मतलब मैं तो रुक नहीं सकता हूँ to actually see Ritu Phogat live.
It is this is my since we became हम तो आपके फैंस कब से हैं मैडम, हम आपके लिए वेट कर रहे थे। हम एक हफ्ते से हम सोच रहे थे क्या पूछेंगे ऋतु कैसे है। Just generally we were very very happy. हम बहुत खुश हैं कि आप हमारे शो पे आए।
और जो मुझे इन्फॉर्मेशन मिली कि आपका फेवरेट कलर लाल है वो एब्सोल्युटली गलत है।
कभी इंटरनेट गलत बता देता है।
Absolutely. अच्छा guys, can we take the fan questions?
No, first we have to ask the fun questions now. अभी बहुत serious काम खत्म, रेसलिंग के बारे में कुछ नहीं अभी, ओनली फन क्वेश्चन। ऋतु जी, रेसलिंग, फाइटिंग, ट्रेनिंग के अलावा आप सिंगापुर में क्या कर रहे हो
या क्या करते हो?
मैं यहाँ पे सिर्फ ट्रेनिंग करती हूँ और टाइम ही नहीं मिलता, मतलब और कुछ करने का टाइम ही नहीं मिलता। ट्रेनिंग घर फिर इतनी थक जाती हूँ कि मतलब
कोई साइट सिंग कुछ नहीं,
टाइम ही नहीं मिलता।
कोई क्या बात कर आप दिन में क्या 18 घंटा ट्रेनिंग करते हो क्या?
अभी आपको बताती मैं ट्रेनिंग, तो आप बता देना मेरे को। मैं सुबह मतलब 6 बजे उठती हूँ, फिर उठ के अपना मतलब ब्रेकफास्ट बनाती हूँ, फिर ब्रेकफास्ट बनाकर मैं ट्रेनिंग पे जाती हूँ। फिर ट्रेनिंग हमारी 1-2 घंटे ट्रेनिंग होती है। फिर ट्रेनिंग के बाद फिर मैं वहीं पे मतलब ज्यादा तो नहीं खा सकते क्योंकि हमारी ट्रेनिंग दूसरी ट्रेनिंग का गैप बहुत कम है, 2-3 घंटे, तो मैं हम ज्यादा हैवी डाइट नहीं ले सकते। तो वहीं पे बाई करके खा के फिर वहीं पे जिम में ही रेस्ट करते हैं, क्योंकि अगर मैं वापस घर पे आती हूँ तो 35 मिनट लगते, तो 35 मिनट आऊंगी, 35 मिनट जाऊंगी, तो इतना टाइम नहीं है, तो वो रेस्ट नहीं मिलता। तो मैं जिम में ही वहीं पे रेस्ट करती हूँ। और उसके बाद हमारी चेक इन ट्रेनिंग होती है। फिर चेक इन ट्रेनिंग के बाद फिर मैं थोड़ा बहुत अपना एक्स्ट्रा करती हूँ 15-20 मिनट, तो 4-5 बज जाते हैं शाम के। फिर मैं थक हार के घर पे आती हूँ, फिर देखती हूँ थक हार के, कभी कभी मतलब इतनी थक जाती हूँ कि शाम का खाना नहीं बनाती, तो फिर मैं बाहर से ऑनलाइन ऑर्डर करती हूँ। तो खाना बनाते बनाते 8 बज जाती, इतनी थक जाती हूँ कि थोड़ी बहुत घर पे बात करके फिर सो जाती हूँ।
तो आपका ये फेवरेट, आप ऑर्डर क्या करते हो पर बाहर से? आपका फेवरेट क्या खाना है वहाँ?
नहीं, फिर बाहर का ऐसा कोई फेवरेट नहीं है, वो तो मतलब मेरे को टाइम नहीं मिलता, वो मजबूरी है, थक जाती है इतनी। अदरवाइज मैं मतलब घर पे ही बनाती हूँ अपना देसी सब कुछ। बाहर से मैं कुछ चिकन फिश ये ऑर्डर कर लेती हूँ।
वेरी नाइस, वेरी नाइस। एंड
आपका शेड्यूल सुन के मैं थक गया पूरा दिन का जितने बार।
ऋतु जी, आप अप्रेंटिस शो पे थे, वन चैंपियनशिप के अप्रेंटिस शो पे थे, तो उसका थोड़ा आप जरा उसका एक्सपीरियंस बताएंगे तो द व्यूअर्स विल बी वेरी वेरी हैप्पी।
बिल्कुल, मैं बिल्कुल बताऊंगी, क्योंकि ये मतलब लाइफ में मैंने पहली बार इस तरह का मतलब रियलिटी शो किया है, तो बिल्कुल। और ये मतलब काफी मजेदार एक्सपीरियंस रहा मेरे लिए, क्योंकि मतलब मैंने फर्स्ट टाइम देखा कि मतलब एक बिजनेस के उसमें भी मतलब फिजिकली एक्टिविटी हो रही है, और ये सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है, क्योंकि हम फिजिकली फिट नहीं होंगे तो हम किसी भी बिजनेस में कोई अच्छे से नहीं कर पाएंगे ज्यादा भी। ये चीज मुझे काफी अच्छी लगी कि मतलब बिजनेस के साथ साथ फिजिकल चैलेंज भी है, तो और काफी अच्छा लगा वहाँ, मतलब जितने भी कंटेस्टेंट थे उनसे मिलके, उनको मोटिवेट करके, उनको पुश करके, तो वो चीज मतलब एक न्यू एक्सपीरियंस और काफी अच्छा लगा उन सबसे मिलकर भी।
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That is fantastic. सच में I don't have any words anymore, क्योंकि it is such a honor, it's such a pleasure to be speaking with such a humble champion. Lives such a humble life with such simple, hardworking and amazing values. It is the reason why Ritu Phogat is such a great athlete. This is the reason why India में कितने लोग, कितना following है उनका, कितने फीमेल फाइटर्स, कितने मेल फाइटर्स, सब लोग आपके लिटरली आपके पैर पर।
Thank you
Absolutely. And in fact, I think we need to get to the fan questions right now.
Yes, sir. Somesh, you have all the fan questions, please.
बहुत सारे फैंस हैं।
मुझे पता है
फैन क्वेश्चंस मुझे सुनना है।
नहीं, शादी का एक ही है। शादी का एक ही है।
क्योंकि मैं जब इंस्टाग्राम पे डालती हूँ आस्क मी समथिंग, तो उसमें देखती हूँ कि ज्यादातर मैडम आप शादी कब करोगे, आप किससे करोगे, ये करोगे, आप पहलवान से करोगे, किससे?
नहीं। इनफैक्ट बहुत सारे इंस्टाग्राम मैसेजेस आए हैं मेरे पास, बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस आए हैं, बट 3 इसमें से सबसे बेस्ट है जो बेसिकली मैंने सिलेक्ट किया है। अभी पहला क्वेश्चन है मिस्टर नरेश से, एंड नरेश भाई हमसे पूछ रहे हैं कि ऋतु जी, मुझे सुनने में आया है कि आपके बलाली के घर पे कभी चोरी नहीं हुई है, क्योंकि चोर जब आपके घर के बाहर आता है तो वो फोगाट नाम देख के वो वहीं से भाग जाता है।
बिल्कुल, क्योंकि मैं आपको एक बात बताऊंगी, आपको बिलीव नहीं होगा, क्योंकि मतलब हम जब कैंप में भी होते थे तो मतलब और लड़कियां अपने अपने रूम के लॉक लगा के जाती थी, रूम में भी मतलब जो अलमारी होती थी उसमें भी लॉक लगाते। तो एक चीज मैं बता दूं, मतलब हमें बहनों ने कभी भी अपने रूम को कभी भी लॉक लगाया नहीं, हमारे घर में तो कभी लॉक लगाया ही नहीं। सभी बोलते थे कि मतलब आप मतलब बाहर जा रहे हो लॉक लगाओ, मुझे नहीं पता चोर डर के भाग जाता है या क्यों नहीं आता।
अरे कौन नहीं डरेगा यार,
कभी वो चीज नहीं।
पर कौन नहीं डरेगा।
सिंगापुर में भी मतलब इतना सब कुछ सेफ है, सिंगापुर में भी मतलब लोग लगा के जाते हैं सब कुछ। मैंने यहाँ पे भी अपने घर पे भी मतलब मैं लोग लगा के नहीं जाती थी।
So, ladies and gentlemen, ऋतु जी के घर पे कभी चोरी नहीं हुई है और
आप किसी के घर पे चोरी करवाओगे?
और ऋतु जी के पास सिर्फ 2 लॉक है, एक है बॉडी लॉक और एक है लेग लॉक।
और वो दोनों लॉक में से मुझे कुछ नहीं करना है, कभी देखना नहीं है, ना ही बॉडी लॉक ना ही लेग लॉक, प्लीज।
ओके, मूविंग ऑन। दूसरा क्वेश्चन है, अरे यहाँ पे सब लड़के क्यों हैं? ओके, सो
सब लड़के यार, इंस्टाग्राम फीड पे कितने लड़के, इज ऋतु सिंगल, अरे बस यार, कोई डिसेंट सवाल पूछो।
अच्छा, तो पंकज जी का क्वेश्चन प्रीटी मच आपके डैडी के ऊपर है। एंड पंकज जी पूछ रहे कि रेसलिंग में, फ्री स्टाइल रेसलिंग में 6 वेट कैटेगरी है। क्या महावीर जी का सपना था कि उनके पास 6 बेटियां हो ताकि एक एक कैटेगरी में एक एक गोल्ड मेडल मिल जाए?
बिल्कुल मैं ये बताऊंगी, पापा का बिल्कुल सपना था, लेकिन अनफॉर्चुनेटली मतलब किसी का वेट इतना बढ़ा ही नहीं कि मतलब कोई हैवी वेट में चले जाए। तो सभी मतलब ये 2-3 वेट में ही थे हम, तो 2-3 वेट में आपस में टक्कर खा कर आपस में मतलब एक दूसरे को काट कर रहे हो, आगे बढ़ते हैं।
So basically competition starts from home.
बिल्कुल हम आपस में
Awesome.
ऋतु जी is now showing off, किसी का वेट बढ़ता ही नहीं है। मुझे काफी थोड़ा सा अभी पर्सनली बुरा लगने लग गया, to be honest।
नहीं, जिसका बढ़ जाए उसका पापा कटवा देगा, मैं 110% गारंटी दे रही हूँ। जिसका बढ़ जाता है उसका कटवा सकता नहीं।
मैं आई थिंक मुझे महावीर जी के पास जाना पड़ेगा बहुत सून।
बिल्कुल मैं गारंटी देती हूँ। एक बार आप क्लास जरूर मतलब ज्वाइन पापा की क्लास में जरूर जाएं। 1 महीने जाएं, ज्यादा नहीं, 1 महीने बिल्कुल।
ओह गॉड, क्रेजी। अच्छा, तीसरा क्वेश्चन नहीं है, तीसरा डायरेक्ट पॉइंट है। गुलशन जी बोल रहे, ऋतु फोगाट विल यू मैरी मी?
गुलशन, वाह।
मैं उसकी मत की दाद देती हूँ कि उसने मुझे प्रपोज किया उसके लिए।
मतलब ये कहाँ का गुलशन है?
अरे गुलशन हैज द गट्स बाबा, गुलशन के पास बहुत दम है।
गुलशन में जो दम है वो मुझ में बिल्कुल नहीं। So that was it, ladies and gentlemen. We have Ritu Phogat with us live in the studio. We had some great conversation with her. We had some fun conversations.
Amazing conversations.
And looking forward on seeing you guys on the other side when we get back with round 3 of the Fighting G.O.A.T.
Do you know Tamil? Tamil puriyuma? Do your children enjoy great stories that inculcate good values? Hi, I am Ravishankar Balachandran and I host the Storytime Tamil podcast. I am excited to share a short story with great moral values every day. Listen to Storytime Tamil on the IVM podcast app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to round 3 of the Fighting G.O.A.T. What an insane, amazing interview with Somesh, I think one of the most amazing, respectful.
Well, Ritu complimented me, no? I mean, I'm feeling nice.
No. She liked my shirt. Yaad rakhna. Yaad rakho. She did like your shirt.
Guys, it goes to show, don't believe stuff on the internet. I looked it up on the internet. She said her favorite color is red. And she said, no, it's black or white. Chips was wearing white. He got props to it. Excellent. Good job, Chips. Thank you very much. But I think she called me handsome, no?
No, she called us both handsome. That's the best part. Dono bulaya. But I got to give it to that one fan, man. सीधा आप शादी करोगी मुझसे? खत्म।
Didn't even ask कि आप कि आपको करना है कि नहीं? He said, Ritu, will you marry me? Oh my God. Oh my God.
So guys, go back. If you've not checked it out, go back to round number 2. Check it out. It was humbling for us here at the Fighting G.O.A.T. to be in the presence of not only a Commonwealth Gold Medalist, somebody who is seen just at the young age of 27 years. She has come into a sport where she is already shining. She's undefeated at 1FC, and which takes us forward to our next segment, the Team Chips versus Team Kamra face-off, where we are talking about 2 cards. We're going to cover 6 fights in total, and that is Dangal by ONE FC, which take place on May 15th in Singapore, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it's happening May 15th, and you can catch it on Star Sports in India.
Yes. And of course, UFC 262, the big one, the vacant lightweight championship belt. We're going to have Charles Oliveira taking on Michael Chandler.
Oh my God. I'm sweating already.
That's a great card. UFC 262 is a banger of a card. Somesh, let's take us to the fights. First, let's start off with ONE FC's Dangal.
Man, it's crazy. So we have Gurdashan Gary Mangat taking on our very own Roshan Mainam.
Both the guys are great. I don't know who to root for.
I have no idea. I'm a little stuck in this one, but let's go on to the next fight. It's Killer B taking on Ritu Phogat. And man, was she confident of destroying Killer B?
Dude, she was the way she spoke. I mean, she spoke, it's not trash talk.
Yeah.
The way she said it, she was like, I respect her. She's a dangerous striker, blah, blah. But I'm going to screw her. I'm going to destroy her. Finished.
Yeah.
And come on, man. It's Ritu Phogat. What do you expect?
Yeah. And the main event of that evening is Brandon Vera versus our very own Arjun Singh Bhulhar.
Oh man, this one is going to be good. For the old school fans from the UFC, we all remember who Brandon Vera is. Absolutely. The man who dismantled Frank Mir at heavyweight, the man who was touted as one of the biggest prospects in the light heavyweight division with such great Muay Thai and striking. It's going to be a fun one. This is a hard card to pick from. And Arjun Bhulhar is also a former UFC fighter.
Yes.
And he of course fights at ONE FC now.
Absolutely. So can we start with
quickly? What are the picks, Somesh?
Chips, what do you think?
Okay. By the way, guys, if you've forgotten, let me remind you. Team Chips is 5-0 over Team Kamra.
Yeah,
Team Chips 5-0. So
Chips. Nobody asked.
when you guys remember who to support, Team Chips, Team Kamra, you know where to go. But let me not get too cocky because this one is a tough one. This is going to be a tough fight card. With our first fight, Roshan Mainam versus Gurdashan Mangat, I'm going to go with Gary Mangat.
Good call. I think I'm going to be supporting you. Gary Mangat is my pick for this one.
Absolutely. Second fight. That goes without saying. Ritu Phogat.
I'm going to be going with Ritu Phogat. Yes. So Killer B versus Ritu Phogat. I think Team Chips, Team Kamra, both are going to go for Ritu Phogat.
And in the main event, well, I'm going to throw a little googly here. I was a huge Brandon Vera fan. I'm still a huge Brandon Vera fan. I don't know how he's matured over the years, but he's looking a lot better than what he did in the UFC.
Right.
In ONE FC, he's looking a lot sharper. I think he's got a different focus. And I think it'll be a great fight. I'm going to go with Brandon Vera.
Oh, wow. Interesting. So I like Arjun Singh Bhulhar and I like Brandon Vera. I'm just kind of debating. So I think it's going to be Brandon Vera for me also.
Wow, 3 for 3. Team Kamra has decided to come onto the Team Chips.
I cannot be a sore loser next Sunday. I just cannot, man. I cannot handle these losses. After I lose, I kind of stay sulky for the entire week. So the reason why I'm so energetic is because we didn't have picks last time.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. That's true. But now coming to UFC 262. Quickly, Somesh, bring us through the 3 fights that we're going to call.
Okay, cool. So we have in the featherweight division, we have Shane Burkos versus Edson Barboza.
Wow.
We'll be picking that fight. The co-main event of the evening in the lightweight division is Tony Ferguson and Beneil Dariush.
My boy Tony, he's back.
And for the main event of the evening, again in the lightweight division, is Charles Oliviera taking on Michael Chandler.
But ye Bombay ki garmi bad rahi hai ki is this the card doing this?
Man, it is the card.
It's the card, man. It's 40 degrees in Bombay, but this is way hotter than anything that Bombay has to produce right now.
These cards are 80 degrees, man, at the moment.
Easy. All right, what are your picks, my friend? Okay, I'll start. In tradition, Team Chips starts the picks.
Yeah, winners go first. Let's go.
I think I'm going to go with the veteran Barboza. If Barboza is a brutal striker. Shane Burgos is also a tough fighter. But man, when Barboza is on, there are very few people on the planet who can beat him.
Wow, that's a very, very good pick. Shane Burgos has got some good fights in the last. The last couple of fights were great. But I think I'm going to go with Edson Barboza for this one.
All right, Edson Barboza it is.
I think he's the one who's going to get the submission win here.
All right, moving along.
Well, the lightweight division, the co-main event of the evening, Tony Ferguson and Beneil Dariush.
Okay. Tony's been on a 2-fight losing streak, but it's not like, even against Gaethje, he got pounded against Gaethje, but Tony is one of the toughest mofos I've ever seen. Even against Charles Oliviera, who's fighting for the vacant belt next week, even against him, after all those attempts, yes, he got out-muscled, he got outworked, but he was outclassed, yes, but he didn't give up. Yes. I will never, ever put Tony Ferguson out of a fight, no matter who it is.
Man for a reason.
He is the bloody boogeyman. So it's going to be Tony Ferguson. I think third time's a charm. He's going to come back.
Wow, that's a crazy pick because on the Ultimate Fighter UFC, everybody picked against me. They picked Beneil Dariush. I'm going to be going with Tony Ferguson for this one.
Tony Ferguson for this one. And now this is the toughest one. And this is the only place where I'm going to call an upset. So we've got the main event of the evening, Charles Oliveira versus Mike Chandler. We've got, I don't know where to go. I know it's going to be damn tough. My heart tells me one thing. My mind is telling me something else.
Okay. So, let the heart and mind debate amongst each other and the mouth says it. So Team Chips, go for it. Who's your pick between Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler for the vacant lightweight championship?
I'm going with Michael Chandler. I think he pulls off the upset.
Okay, cool. So
I think Chandler pulls off the upset.
Everybody has gone against me. I'm going to go with the veteran Brazilian. I'm going to go with Charles Oliveira. And
really? Who went against you?
Well, everybody on the Ultimate Fighter UFC, be it
seriously,
the host,
except me,
Sudhir Sachdev, and the
Qatil Kabutar himself.
And Qatil Kabutar himself said that Michael Chandler is going to have a clear upset. But yeah,
I think he's going to have. Somesh, I'm telling you, I have a premonition. And that's why, Team Chips has been winning so far. But it's not like I've had a flawless record. I've also lost in the past. I could be wrong too,
Well, I mean, let's see how this goes. Because
maybe this time is the first time it could be 5-1. Remember I told you this? I have a feeling I'm going to drop one now.
It's very interesting because out of 6 fights, 5 of them were on the same table. It's just for the UFC main event. We've selected 2 others. True. So let's see where this goes. There's a good chance it could be 5-1. And if by chance, ladies and gentlemen, if it becomes 6-0, then the game ends. We're not having this ever again. I cannot sulk longer. I hate this. And we'll have and round 3 will be a new segment. So
no, for the sake of our rivalry, we must make sure that Team Kamra continues to strive. So we're going to, I hope he wins, because it's going to be fun. It's no fun otherwise.
See, you know what? There was a time when Ajit Agarkar got like some 7 ducks in a row versus Australia. And the 8th time when he came on and he scored the first run, he raised his bat like he made a century and all the Australians clapped. And I think that's going to be a moment for me next episode where all of you guys will clap when I have my first taste of victory.
I hope so. For the sake of the sport, I really hope so. But you know what? All our fun rivalry aside, do not forget to tune into these amazing cards. It's incredible. I mean, if you have to, you're listening to the Fighting G.O.A.T. You guys are fight fans. We know we just experienced one of the greatest, India's greatest athletes talking to us. We were truly humbled. And this weekend, we're humbled by the fact that we have almost all Indians on one card fighting overseas.
Absolutely. And it's called Dangal.
And of course, the UFC 262 cake topper, which is just incredible. It's going to be such a great set of fights. Somesh, I cannot wait for this to happen.
Same here. We cannot wait for this. Guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode with Team Chips and Team Kamra. We will give you our handles and you can write to us, speak with us, make predictions on Chips' handle. Chips, let's go.
All right. Follow me on Instagram at Arjun_Chipalkatti and on Twitter at Mystic Chipal. Go Somesh.
Superb. You can follow me on Instagram, Somesh.Kamra, and on Twitter, Somesh_Kamra. Follow us on IVM Podcast or just check out all the content on ivmpodcast.com. For more action, we have a lot coming on the episode, and see you next week, same time, same place, only on the Fighting G.O.A.T.
If you love cricket, listen up. The Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast is here for you. Hosted by DJ, Varun, and me, Ashwin, we bring a fun, fresh fan's point of view to talking all things cricket. Sometimes it's just the 3 of us, sometimes we have guests, including current and former international cricketers. For new episodes every week, check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket podcast on the IVM app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Feeling overwhelmed, anxious, struggling with too many obstacles, don't know where your life is headed? Well, if you are dealing with one or all of these, tune into the Positively Unlimited podcast, because in each episode, I share a life lesson, a life hack, a pro tip that can help you get your life back on track. All episodes are available on the IBM website, IBM Podcast app, or wherever it is that you get your podcast from.